Day 3 in our week-long series focusing on the threat of terrorist attacks on our nation's schools. Today, I want to try to answer the question that quite possibly is the most important question of the week. Why? Why would the terrorists want to wake up the proverbial sleeping giant once again by attacking not our towers, but this time our children? The answer is what, as you're about to hear, isn't as obvious as you might think. It is not about body counts or violence or spreading fear. It is about the backlash, and more importantly, it is about how that backlash would be used in propaganda in the foreign media to unite extremists all over the world against us. Tonight's episode is called The Aftermath. It is really the whole reason that I decided to do this series. Maybe, just maybe, if America knows the reaction that these monsters want from us and expect out of us, we will refuse to hand it to them. Brad Thor, author of the new book, The First Commandment, and former member of the Department of Homeland Security's Analytic Red Cell program, is back tonight. We also have Dr. Zuhdi Jasser from the American Islamic Forum for Democracy, and Bernard Kerik, chairman of the Kerik Group and former police commissioner of New York City. Let me start with this, and I guess it goes to Zuhdi. Tell me a little bit about the Al Jazeera effect. They want something so horrific where they are raping our children, killing them, torturing them, stuffing them out the windows, having the whole media see, because they want us to do what?
They, as you can see in Iraq, Glenn, they feed off of sectarian divisions, and they feed off of creating this division so that they can continue to claim the mantle of religion, and no matter how much monstrous or evil what they do is, they still see the end justifying the means. So if they can separate the world into Muslim and non-Muslim and attack and commit such an act of evil that you start to get a rage response like we saw here in Phoenix right after 9/11. A man was gunned down by a hate crime by virtue of looking Muslim. And what Al Jazeera would do is start putting this all over the Middle East media. 80 million watchers would see this happening, and the terrorists would get what they want, which is to sow unrest, to create chaos, Muslim versus non-Muslim, and the most potent weapon against what they seek are the moderate Muslims that are liberty-minded, that want to take away their mantle of religion and say that they are not only not Islamic, but we want to fight them and declare war on them, and we'll be so busy fighting hate crimes.
Okay, Bernie, I want you to take me two places. First, I want you to take me, what does it look like the day this, God forbid, would happen? What does the country look like that day? What are parents doing? What are schools doing? How do we react that day?
Well, think about this. Post 9/11, that morning, that afternoon, in the days and weeks after the aftermath, in New York City and around New York City, there was depression. There were people that couldn't work, just physically couldn't go to work.
I don't want you to go there yet. I want you to tell me that day. How does the police react? What happens to our schools that day?
Okay, well, here's the thing. It's all going to be dependent on what you said earlier. Are we prepared? You know, on September 11th, we were prepared for a response of some catastrophe. We never knew they were going to hit the towers. Our police departments, Department of Homeland Security, the first responders, do they have protocols, procedures, and plans in place to respond to schools? Do they have evacuation plans to respond to those schools?
But
are there notification processes to notify the parents? Are there pickup points? Are there head count procedures? These are all things that, if they are in place, it'll make their job much easier.
Time is of the essence, though. You can't hesitate. You've got to stop it immediately, right?
And that's the thing, Glenn. We've talked about this. There is no happy ending to this. When we think about, is there a way to reconcile this? Can we talk the terrorists out of the school? No, we can't. It's like imagining that, what if we could have communicated with the pilots on 9/11? Could we have talked them down? Could we have turned them around and convinced them not to hit the towers? No. These guys are coming here without exit strategies. It's going to be horrific. And every single second we wait to prepare now or to act once this happens, the more children, the more people are going to die.
Okay, so now, Bernie, take me here, because this affects our economy. I don't know how mom and dad send their kids back into school a month later. I bet you homeschooling goes through the roof, which means mom or dad, one of them, if they both work, have to quit their job. This changes everything.
It's going to have an overall impact on everything, Glenn. I mean, tourism will come to a standstill. The airline industry will fall. The stock market's going to take a tank. The kids will not return to school immediately if they do at all. People are going to want in-house programs, if you will. There's going to, every parent, I have 2 young girls, they go to school. I will want to know from that point on, what are the schools doing? How are my children protected? What are the protocols and plans? What are the evacuation points? What is the security for the school? Do they have internal critical infrastructure policies and procedures and program systems to screen visitors, to monitor visitors, to see what goes on? Everything will change.
And Glenn, it's important that we also remember that we have to have the best inoculation to this emotional response is to see Muslim organizations saying that they are declaring war on Al-Qaeda, not against terrorism, but the best thing to inoculate the rage response is to declare